we told you earlier that the Super Eagles are back in the country. This was after a 12-hour delay left them stranded in an airport in Libya. Well, the team landed in Kano, that was yesterday, and landed in the capital, Abuja. They were scheduled to face Libya's football team in the second leg of the AFCON qualifiers on Tuesday. Nigeria beat them in the first one 1-0. The Nigerian Football Federation has now officially withdrawn the team from the game. The Confederation of African Football, CAF, has also begun an investigation into the ordeal. The President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has welcomed the safe return of the Eagles and is calling on the disciplinary board of CAF to conduct a thorough investigation. At the airport in Kano, the Deputy Governor of Edo State, Philip Shuaib, and other officials of the Super Eagles called on CAF to sanction the Libyan Football Federation.
Very horrific and very bad experience. All my life in sports, active sports, even my playing days, I've never seen the kind of horrific experience. Very terrible, very terrible. I think CAF have to sanction the Libyan team and Libya FA. They need tough and stiff sanction, and that is the only way this will stop.
This is not the first time. The difference is happening to our country, which is a very big affront to the Nigerian nation. This, I never believe it will ever happen in this way, and I don't know why they have chosen to go this far. It's quite disgraceful. It's quite unfortunate.
This trip, I wouldn't say it was okay, but we thank God that we went and we came back safe. But it was a hostage situation.
Indeed. Well, we are joined now by Arise News analyst, Dr. Constance Ikoko, for more on this story. Dr. Constance, good to see you.
Good to see you.
It was at about this time yesterday, actually earlier than this, India and I read the story. It was developing at the moment, and we're wondering what was going on. But, you know, in the last couple of hours, 24 hours, we've seen what has played out. But tell us what exactly happened here.
Well, from reports, what happened was that the Super Eagles were supposed to fly into Benghazi, and then mid-air, their aircraft was diverted to a smaller airport that is reserved for Hajj operations. They did not know what transpired, so they were held hostage literally in that airport for many hours without appropriate facilities and logistics to get to their hotel in Benghazi, which was 3 hours away. So no one knew what was going on. They were there for so many hours, and at the end of the day, they decided that it was better to come back. Now, we know that the Confederation of African Football has reached out to the Nigerian authorities and the Libyans as well. It says it has referred this incident to its disciplinary board in order to look at the violations of laid down statutes and regulations. How CAF handles this incident matters. Because this was supposed to be a circumstance that was friendly. It's a football match. It's sports brings people together. So appropriate sanctions are usually a forfeiture of matches, or it could be fines or stricter sanctions as it deems fit. But at this one, it has also sparked a broader discussion about the safety of visiting teams as well as their treatment. Anything could have happened to the players mid-air when that aircraft was being diverted, and anything could have also happened at that airport where they were stranded without knowing what was actually going on, without any explanation. This is not a game, it's people's lives at stake. Secondly, on that broader discussion, I think it reflects the underlying tensions between North Africa and the rest of the continent, perhaps. We do know that there are historical, political, and identity lines that exist within the continent. You know, countries such as Egypt, Libya, Morocco, Algeria, within the Mediterranean hemisphere. they are, they align with the Arab world because of historical differences. So this legacy is what we see sometimes when you come to not only football matches, but other areas of relationships between countries in the continent.
My late father, who was the chairman of Rangers International Football Club, the days he was traveling across nations for football matches, this has been a recurring incident with particularly North Africans. Their hostility to teams when they come to play. It's a mind game, like the captain of the Eagles team pointed out. The point here is that Eguava, the interim coach, says when the Libya team came to Nigeria, they landed at the Port Harcourt airport instead of at Uyo, and they did apologize that it was their own fault, not that of Nigeria. Looks like this was a mismanagement of information in the Libyan country that led to this, harsh treatment of the Nigerian contingent.
Well, were they abandoned at the airport here in Nigeria? They were not. Eventually, they were taken, they were taken to the matches, and the match, went on. I think the tit-for-tat approach, there's no explanation for that. A lot of people will say that is uncalled for in a situation that was supposed to be a friendly match, But I think it also highlights that complex relationship between African countries, the north and the southern part of the continent. I once traveled from Barcelona to Egypt through Egypt Air, and it was a horrific experience. The treatment of all the Nigerians that were going through that route to come back to the country. We were dumped at the airport, waiting for so many different flights to eventually, have a lot of people together, and then we were taking more than an hour outside the airport to some abandoned resort, and then we got there to about early in the morning, about 3 a.m. in the morning, and we had to wake up again and go back to the airport by about 4:35 in the morning. It was a terrible experience, and it will be hard-pressed to see if this kind of treatment will be meted out to countries, for instance, the United Kingdom, or citizens from United States of America. So it also it gives an opportunity for African countries to begin to discuss. Yes, we live in the same continent, but we have this problem. Do we really want to be a united African continent? We talk about the Continental Free Trade Agreement and other efforts to make sure that Africa is united and that we are collaborating and working together in order to advance, causes within us. We have the African Union. What are we doing? This incident for a lot of people is unacceptable and should not happen again. Indeed.
There cannot be a tat when there's no tit. So the tit for tat does not even come to play. But I wanted to ask you, when you, given the power of hindsight, and you look at how everything played out from the weekend up until now, how would you describe the response of those involved generally, on the Nigerian side particularly, because of course this concerns Nigeria? Were you impressed? Because a lot of people, perhaps maybe a few unpatriotic Nigerians on social media yesterday who didn't understand the background which you have highlighted for us now, but it does seem like Nigeria came together yesterday. But what's your opinion of the response from all sides?
At this where football is like a rallying point, or any match at all, any sport at all is a rallying point for Nigerians and indeed other countries, around the world. It is supposed to be a moment of joy. It is supposed to be a moment of showing your talent. It is supposed to be a moment of bringing people together. So when this happened to Nigerians, everyone was equally, outraged at that kind of treatment. And so many Nigerians say it was a good decision that our teams took, or our football management team took, to bring back the boys, or not the boys, the team back to Nigeria, instead of waiting, for an extended period for the Libyans to respond, which they did not. So the thing to do was, to have some integrity and return to the country.
All right, we wait and see how CAF treats this matter. The way they treat it will be very poignant to nations and the way they act concerning football competitions that involve CAF. Thank
it's
you
a
so
litmus
much.
test for them.
Yeah, thank you so much, Constance.
You're welcome.